Hello, everybody. This is Ryan over at Bearded Tree Hugger. I wanted to talk about the Hallelujah Acres. What are they called? Hallelujah Acres. I was given the original book to this, and then they wanted it back, so I bought this weekly meal plans, and I like some of this diet, but not much of it, honestly. Now they're what was it called? Barley something or other. Ground barley root. I forget. Barley something. It's a powderized green detox type thing. If you're in really bad shape, I could see how that would do you well. If you're just if you get a bunch of bananas, throw them in a blender, and you get some of the Hallelujah Acres. You know what? I'll link it below. It's they've got a beet one. They've got They've got a couple of green ones. I forget even which ones I took. I took one, and it detoxed me a little bit too much, and I had to back it off because I was getting really severe headaches and stuff like that. Now, I hesitate to even advise that. If you are really, really, really heavily got a lot of detox or toxins in you, I would almost say that it would be better for you to go on a strictly fruit and vegetable diet first, and get the start detoxing and kind of get used to that. Because if you go straight into something real heavy like a green powder or something like that, I don't know, you might have a rude awakening. You might be on the toilet quite a bit. So I would say if you're going to want to detox, and everybody should detox, especially these days with all the stuff that's coming out of the skies and all that kind of, the stuff that's in the food, the stuff that's, if you live in the city, they say it's like smoking a pack a day, the oxygen. So I actually suggest getting a cellar sizer. And if they ever give me, I've applied for it, if they ever give me the affiliate link and all the stuff that goes along with it, so I can kind of add it into my video, then I will finally make one. I would say get a cellar sizer. I had a Bellicon. I really didn't notice a huge detox from it because of the bungee cords. I had different bungee cords too. I had the highest level that you could get. I had the middle, and I think I never got the lowest end because I was just way too heavy for that. So I think I got the middle end, the in between the high and the middle, and then the last one or something like that. I mean, they're so expensive too. They're like $100 by the time you ship them to yourself. I think it's $115, $120. So it's not exactly like a cheap investment, on top of the fact that I think I paid something like almost $1,000 for the Bellicon itself, and I didn't even get the fancy stainless steel one. So I don't advise Bellicon, on top of the fact that if you're kind of a heavy guy, you can actually bottom that thing out, which I did a couple of times. And actually, one of the times that I bottomed that out, right before I hit the bottom of right before I hit the floor, I actually broke through the mat. And it was actually still on warranty, so they sent me a new mat, and they wanted that mat back just to test it. But this diet, the reason I don't really care for it is it calls for fat, quite a bit of it, in every single recipe. And it's kind of a starvation diet. I'm looking at it now, and it's not as much as a starvation diet as I thought it was. That first book, it's probably about this thick, that the woman at the post office gave me, that I worked with. It had like just a ton of salads and stuff like that. This one is a little more reasonable, but every single one of them has a lot of fat in it. A lot of fat. I mean, 1 cup of Vegenaise for a ranch dressing. This one doesn't seem to have any fat in it. 1 ripe avocado. I mean, it's just so much fat. Anyway, I don't recommend this. I kind of did actually this without even knowing that this existed. when I first went raw, because I thought I was losing weight too fast and I didn't want to have that loose skin. So I would start adding avocado and the nuts and the seeds. I don't know. I did actually start adding oil in too, because I was paranoid. I have 2 or 3 cousins, and I know a couple other people in acquaintance type situations. And actually, no, I actually have another friend who lost a ton of weight real fast, and they have that loose skin, and they cannot get rid of it. They just cannot get rid of it. I've heard of people getting rid of their loose skin, but if they have to catch it early on rebounding half hour a day, that I can see how that would be possible. But I don't even want to get to that point. So I would start adding in fat, because I mean the weight was just falling off like crazy, especially after I started it adding in the couch to 5K. That's when I really noticed the weight coming off like crazy. What else am I going to say about this, man? I just completely lost it. It's such a rainy, sleepy day here. It's just like hard to even get the energy to do anything. So I don't recommend it. This is kind of what you're going to look like on that diet. You're going to kind of be like fogged out and all that kind of stuff all the time, because there's just so much fat. It's just so much harder for your body to digest fat. So much harder. There is fat in everything that you eat to some level. So you get enough fat just eating the fruits, vegetables, all the starch and all that kind of stuff, starch solution, the fruitarian, the durian rider protocol. All of those will get you enough fat in the diet without having add fat into it, and you'll have enough energy. You'll have the energy stores. You will have enough to get through the day. And if you don't, just add a little bit of sugar or a lot of sugar. And that's what I started doing. And that's when the weight just started falling off like effortlessly. You know, once I just started adding sugar instead of fat, weight just kept falling off. I mean, I'm in the middle of it. I made the before and after of my first 120-pound weight loss. I've kept it off. Even if I have gone off plan, I have at least kept 120 pounds off. So being vegan, even, you know, throwing caution to the wind or whatever, I still managed to lose the weight that I did, and I managed to keep it off. But when I'm not adding fat and when I'm not adding all this high calorie stuff, I start going down. I'll go down to 250, I'll go down to 240, and then I'll add it back. And I got to stop doing that. And if you're doing that, you got to stop doing it. So this kind of diet right here is going to keep you in that perpetual state of mind, or a state of body, you know, the constant roller coaster, not a state of mind. The person who gave me this book was about as big as this glasses case, okay? So she's not a good example as to what you're going to get out of that. She's always been that size. She just had a very severe mental issues and very severe, I don't want to go into her physical. So it worked for her. It worked perfectly. She got rid of it. She was on the powders. She was detoxing, you know, and it worked for her. She was the size, again, of this. I mean, she was like 100 pounds soaking wet, no matter what she did. And she was in her late 50s at the time. So that's probably not going to change. That's just what she is. I mean, she's a carrier. She's always out. When she's not carrying at the post office, they live out in the middle of nowhere. So they're out, you know, what do they call, chopping wood and stuff like that, literally, because they, you know, their house runs off of wood. It really doesn't matter, I don't think, what this woman eats. She's just going to be that size because they're just always out. You know, that's just the way it is. Now, if you're somebody like me or most people who are in a city or in a somewhat suburban area and you're not out there chopping wood and gathering wood, and they actually went mushroom hunting and stuff like that, if you're not out there doing that, this kind of diet where they're advising you to put a cup of Veganese in your dressing is going to either keep you just as fat as you are or make you fatter than you are. And it's not going to have much energy for you because your body just cannot digest that amount of fat. So it just stores it as fat. So I've been through this. I've made the videos on it. I'm going to keep making the videos on it. I am a prime example of why you do not want to keep adding fat to your diet. It will stagnate you or add weight. You won't notice it at first, and by the time you finally do notice it, you're like, wow, I just completely derailed myself, and it's going to take you however many months or even a year to get back to where you were that many months or a year ago. So don't do it. If you need energy, add sugar to it. Do not add stimulants. Just here we go with this light again. I don't know if you've seen any of my other videos, but this light lacking carbohydrates. So I'm just gonna add. I'm not even gonna add anything. I'm gonna let this video go because this light just does not want to cooperate with me. We got like an 18-minute light here before it just malfunctions and shuts off. It overheats because it doesn't have enough carbohydrates to get through its day. And that's what you are when you're on the keto diet. When you're on the stimulants, you shut off like this light does. It needs 14 hours of sleep every day just to function. And it can't even function without stimulants. So if you want that kind of lifestyle, add in the fats and all the stimulants and all that other good stuff, and you'll be fine. You'll have your little 6 hours a day to operate, or 8 hours a day. You can't even get through a full work day without, like walking around like a zombie, having the acne, having the jitters because you're constantly on the caffeine. That's just not the lifestyle I want to live. Let's see if it'll work. There we go. Re-uploaded some I added some sugar to it and it works. So that's my advice. Stay clear of it. Unless you're like the size of this case, like that woman that I know, and you really have to get rid of some. I don't even advise that. I told her, I'm like, this diet is nuts. I said, it's crazy. The powders, yeah. The powders I can see. I mean, especially live in the city. The air in the city is kind of like breathing in cigarette smoke every day. I know it's not great for your lungs. So yeah, you can detox. If you're on and you're going to stay on a meat-centric diet, then yeah, those powders will do you real good. I mean, they'll detox you as much as they can. Your body's not built to break down that much protein. It's not built to break down animal stuff. So if it's a choice between this and a dead animal, then of course go this any day of the week, right? But if you are already a vegan and you're looking around and you're struggling to lose weight, I would not go this way. You find this is a much better way to go. 80-10-10. Starch solutions probably the most accessible because starch is easy to find year-round. Fruits are not easy to find year-round, especially nowadays with everything stuck on container ships and God knows where. You can't find anything anymore. So my advice is just eat like the rice diet. So rice, fruit juice, sugar, the starch solution. Everybody knows what starches is. I think the easiest thing to digest is rice and fruit. Potatoes do pose a little bit of a challenge here and there. So it's really up to you what avenue you want to take. If you have easy access to the fruit, I would go fruit. If you don't have easy access to the fruit, then go to starch. If you have easy access during certain parts of the year, then focus that time of year on fruit. And then when you can't find it, focus again on the starches and you'll be fine. You'll have the energy you need. You get through your day. You'll probably have 16 hours a day that you're up. There's times where I still have a hard time falling asleep because I just got so much energy. So that's I think I answered my own question here. The more fruit centric you can make it, especially in the early stages, the better off you're going to be, even if it's just bananas. Now, know that in the winter, bananas are really hard to ripen, so you're going to have to keep the stock rotating. It can almost be a 2-week, if not a 2-week, ripening cycle. In the summer, it can be like a 2-day ripening cycle, and you really got to watch the fruit flies. So you really got to change things around. If people want me to do a video on how I got around fruit flies, let me know. especially if you're in a warmer climate and you've always got to deal with fruit flies. I did have a method. It worked pretty well. Before I had that method, I lost 800 pounds of bananas in 1 year because I didn't know just how bad the fruit flies were going to get. And then once I kind of figured out this method over a 2 year period, I got rid of the fruit flies. I really didn't have the fruit fly problem anymore. Once in a while, if I wasn't careful, if I got overzealous or whatever, then yeah, I would have fruit fly issues. But I did learn how to control them by and large. And then once, you know, the colder months would hit, you never had fruit flies, maybe like 1 or 2 in the house, and they never reproduced. So you just wouldn't have the issues. So anyway, fruit, rice, sugar, fruit juice. If you can't get some of that stuff, then move on to the other starches like your potatoes, corn. Beans are a little hard to digest. If you have a very good digestion, yeah. But I would stay away from them. Maybe half a cup to a cup a day. Other than that, it's just a little too much. So I think I'm going to end here because I think I'm just rambling. If you get any questions, leave them down below. I can make a video on it or just answer your question. But do subscribe, like, or dislike or whatever. Just let me know what you're thinking, and I'll talk to you next time.